Well, I have entered in this year's Art of Living Black exhibition a piece that I titled Emerge, and that is, let's see, and that's based on a portrait that I photographed 3 years ago of a young African-American gentleman that has since graduated from Stanford University. He's a very close friend of 3 nephews that I have that also graduated from Stanford, and they grew up together, at least for some part of their lives, in Washington, D.C., so they kind of go back. They came by my place and visited shortly, and I'll never forget, the light was very beautiful outdoors that day. We went and had lunch. It was an overcast day. It was kind of foggy, and while we're sitting there eating, I looked outside and noticed just the quality of the light, and I said, this is very exceptional, and I need to do something with this today. So when we got back to my place, we all went out to the deck. I took them out one at a time, actually, and photographed each one of them, and from that little short shoot, the best image I got of the whole thing was the image of this young man. His name is Sudi West, and I'd always intended to do something with that image. It's a very, in my opinion, a very high quality image as far as exposure, as far as angle, as far as the moods you get looking at the image, you know, looking at his face. And it's just very evenly lit with the beautiful light that was available that day, you know, just the natural light. Since then, I've gotten into other aspects of my work. I've kind of had a return to abstract photographic art, this time in the form of light paintings that I do. And I do these using, specifically what I've used are Christmas lights as the light source to do abstract works by moving the camera and keeping the light stationary. And I've done a series of these, and I've had them on display. I displayed one as my feature piece in the Art of Living Black in 2005, I guess it was. So I'd always wanted to apply one of my images to somebody's face, and somebody's face in a portrait-type setting. And that's something that I need to do, that I thought I would do anyway, through the use of Macintosh computers and software.
Can I take you just back for a moment?
Sure.
Just that moment when you saw the light for that first photograph, can you talk more about the light and the quality of it and how you felt with that insight?
The light was just very even. And I could tell as a photographer that any pictures taken outdoors that day anyway would just have a very even quality to the light. I don't really know how to explain it other than that. As far as exposure, as far as exposing onto skin, it would give a very even tone. You'd be able to see the texture of the skin a lot better than if you were shooting outdoors at the same time of the day, which was early afternoon on a sunny day like we have today. Because on a day like this, even though a lot of people would say this is a great day to shoot, in actuality, it really isn't, because it gives a lot of shadows under the eyes, under the nose, under the chin. But on the day that I created this portrait, and the direction that the way I staged him so the light would hit him, the direction the light came from, it just filled his face. It filled all of the places where you would normally have shadows or you wouldn't normally have detail. And then as far as the detail that I actually showed, you could see the texture of the skin very smooth, very even. Normally that wouldn't come out due to contrast levels.
And how did you feel about that? Because it seemed like you were very strongly taken by that.
I was moved by that. That's one of the few times I can think of right now in my life where I was really just struck by the light without having a camera. It's one thing to have the intent to go out and photograph something, or to have a camera in your hand and see something as you're driving by or walking by. Ooh, let me capture this right now while it's here. But to not even be thinking about that and just to really be taken by the quality of light, that hasn't really happened to me in that way a lot. Even being a photographer, I suppose it should happen to me more. But it's just a matter of being aware of your environment, I think. You know, what's going on around you.
And within your body, how would you describe the emotions that happened at that moment?
Ooh, you know? I mean, just nice. It's like, I have to do something with this. I have to do something with this. Nice. So it's just one of those special things, you know, as an artist or as a photographer, I guess. And I suppose other artists might experience the same thing in other ways. I'm not sure what that might be. Maybe the texture of paper or something, which is something I also get into as well as a photographer. But I don't know, maybe the color of paint or the consistency of paint or something. I don't know.
Anyone on this wall here? Present? Oh, here we go. Duane.
Well, I'm Duane Conliffe once again. This is my piece here. This is called Emerge, and this is symbolic to me of my feeling that I'm emerging into the art scene in a more significant way than I have been or have participated in the past. This is actually a culmination of, I guess, a lot of different stages of my development as an artist. I used to paint motorcycles. This piece is printed on stainless steel with an inkjet printer. And it started out, the foundation of this piece is a very strong portrait of a young man that attended Stanford University with my nephews. And they're all from Washington, D.C. I've applied to his face one of my light paintings, which is an abstract work, one of a series of abstract works I did about 3 years ago, that I started doing about 3 years ago, using Christmas lights as a light source to get different effects. So I superimposed that and added some depth and dimension with a couple of techniques in Photoshop and printed it on top of a pearlescent coat on stainless steel. So, like I said, it's a kind of a combination of several things that I've done along the way, artistically speaking. I used to silk screen and draw and a whole bunch of stuff. So this is where I'm at now. It's called Emerge, and hopefully that's what's going to happen. Thank you.
Thanks, Duane.